You're right, Frank?
Yeah.
And you're right?
Yeah.
Everyone's right. Great. Welcome back to Sydney. The convention, it's every fan's dream. I've been downstairs, I've been chatting to them, they're so excited. What made you finally decide to put something like this together?
We're so lucky. I mean, we're so fortunate because we've had not only a long history and career, but we've had a real colorful history and career. And unlike a lot of other bands, we can really celebrate our past because it's so visual. We can put it on display. And people, it's kind of like showing people snapshots of your past, and it's also their past also. So to see 16 mannequins with costumes on, or to see a full set of Peter Criss's drums, vintage guitars, paintings that have been album covers, and then see tribute bands doing the old Kiss show, and then have us show up and do a question and answer period and play live and just take requests. We're very lucky, and it also gives us a chance to be close to the greatest fans in the world, because the greatest fans in the world are ours.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Now, looking at those costumes on the mannequins, you were saying earlier, you never realised how tall you all were. They look like the most uncomfortable creations ever known to man. What were they like to perform in?
You know, there's not a whole lot of room for any kind of discomfort when you've got anywhere from 10 to 200,000 people. Your pain seems to diminish greatly. And quite honestly, I mean, most of that was stretch fabric, and it was almost like wearing nothing on stage, which was also fun.
How do you find coming back to Australia after this time, and it's different now, people know what you look like without the makeup, more so than they did. Do you find you have more or less freedom to walk around?
It's a different time, so certainly our look is different, but more importantly, after being gone so long, it's great to come back and have not only the fans pleased, but the non-believers somehow seem to be coming to the show and going, I guess there's something there that I didn't realize was there before. It's funny because the show and the look was always so over the top that some people really seem to lose sight that there was a band underneath there, and only a band can last 20 years, not makeup.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And in respect to that, the Kiss My Ass album has some people that you perhaps wouldn't have named off the top of your head as citing you guys as their influence. People, Garth Brooks always comes to mind when I think that. Is that, I mean, obviously it must be flattering for you to be cited as an influence by all those people, but were you surprised by some of the people who've looked to you?
Not really. Not really, to be honest with you, because I think the whole thing about Kiss goes so far beyond music that perhaps we can be an influence on somebody without influencing them musically. I think the philosophy of what we stand for and the idea of following your gut feelings and your instincts and the idea that you're capable of pretty much accomplishing anything you want to is really what may have turned those people on. That's why there's people who are lawyers, there are people who are policemen, sign painters, all kinds of people who can say, you know, Kiss got me through a tough time or whatever, or the reason I'm doing this today is because of Kiss. I think we transcend music, which is really the ultimate sign of greatness.
The Kiss Army, as it is, and it mobilises on force, and as I said downstairs, and you say as you say, they are made up of different people. Most bands have a group of fans that you can pick by age or demographic, or they've got something in common. Your fans don't. They've been loyal for such a tremendously long time. Did you ever dream that it would be this long, this loyal?
Well, Bruce has been here 10 years. I mean, he's seen...
Yeah, I see the next generation, kind of. So I wasn't in makeup. I didn't have to wear those costumes we were talking about, but I think all these fans, they know me, and as well as they know Eric, our new drummer, which new is 3 years for him now. And I just think that we do get a whole family. They pass it on generations. They'll carry the little kid on their shoulder, and you know, it's the only thing we get upset about if they don't have earplugs in the little child, you know, because we're putting on a big loud show. But it's great that there's all these generations of fans, and I think that means the music is more than just the music. It's some sort of celebration for the families. I don't.
Was earplugs something you would have thought about 10 years ago, or is this the new age family angle?
I don't know. I'm concerned about it.
We've worn earplugs forever. Yeah. It's one thing for someone to go to a show once. If you're doing that 200 times a year, then there's something to think about. I mean, we're horrifically loud or fabulously loud, whichever you think. But our fans are all different ages, not only because they may have grown with us, because I mean that's not always the case. In the beginning, we had some fans who were in their 60s. I remember a club we used to play in the very beginning, and there was a couple that used to come down who were probably in their mid-70s, and there was something about Kiss that grabbed them. And that holds true today. There are fans who don't go back to the beginning. There are some fans who got into the band once we took the makeup off. There are fans who got into the band because of a song like Forever, or a song like I Was Made for Loving You, or a song like Deuce or God of Thunder, going all the way back to the beginning. So it's visceral, it's something gut level or something up here. But it's not something that I think most people are conscious of in terms of, I like it because. They can articulate something, but I don't really think anybody ever really gets, I don't think anybody really knows exactly why they like the band so much.
You do, though, when you perform, put on a show. I mean, it is, from go to woe, absolute pure entertainment. And not every band does that. A lot of bands might play their music and reproduce it fabulously, but they're not reaching out to the audience and actually having that entertainment value. Is that something you were always, I mean, to put makeup on, you must have been conscious of it to a degree. Is that something you've always been conscious of?
Our favorite bands, all the greatest bands, the British bands, had a look about them. When we first started out, American bands looked like they just rolled out of bed and needed a bath, and we wanted nothing to do with that whole, scene. We were crazed Anglophiles. We loved everything coming out of England, whether it was The Who, Cream, Led Zeppelin, bands that you looked at and said, boy, these guys look sharp. We were not big on the Grateful Dead or the Jefferson Airplane or stuff like that. Show has always been important for us because we felt that as members of the audience, we were taken for granted by a lot of bands. I think that early on, bands thought that they were doing you a big favor showing up to play and somehow lost sight of the fact that you were paying them. And we said, wait a minute. We'll show you the way it's supposed to be done. In essence, we got out of the audience and got on stage and said, this is what people should be getting for their money, and kind of educated people. So I think at this point, there are quite a few bands doing shows, and the reason is because fans won't accept crap and won't accept complacency or a lack of respect from the bands that they go to see. It's a different ballgame. However, it's a double-edged sword because bands at this point can buy a great show, and a crappy band with a big show is still a crappy band.
That's true.
It's still going to be the music that we play, but it's great that we have a huge stage show. I mean, I heard one of the promoter guys complaining, you have too many trucks, it's too much stuff. And never enough for our fans,
No, indeed. Have you had any chance, or have you been inspired to write anything while you've been here this time?
It's absolutely impossible. I mean, it really is,
I came up with one chord progression, I swear, the first day when I had my acoustic. But that was it. I mean, I don't know if it's even going to be anything worth recording, but I'm just saying, we've been very, very,
We've had
busy.
no days off.
This has been convention, travel on the day of the convention, do a show, the convention, and then the next day we do a show, travel, day of convention. It's been pretty crazy, but we like it. We like to work. We're not here to our play really is when we're on stage and we get to party with our fans.
Yeah, very true, very true. One guy I saw downstairs has had he got you and Jean to sign his tattoo. Do you remember doing that in Adelaide? And
there's been quite a few.
I have that. Well, his is all healed up, it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just incredible. For life.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it really says another thing about Kiss fans because, when you're a member of an army, when you no longer want to affiliate yourself with the cause, you take off the uniform. When you have a rock and roll band's T-shirt on, you can certainly take it off and next year put on, the New Darlings, or whoever is big at that, point. But when you tattoo yourself, or tattoo, whichever the case may be, a tattoo, that's for life, and that's a real commitment. We have so many of those fans that we actually, on the inside of Kiss My Ass, the album, put photos of them, and in our book, History, put photos of these fans because, the first time I saw something like that was on a woman's rear end. So
Was it you?
yeah, was it?
Your
No, it was actually the logo.
Okay.
And you know, I mean, you don't.
Fair question.
Yeah, fair question. Well, my face was on her rear end, but it wasn't the tattoo. Or the tattoo. So, you know, the first time you see something like that, you go, my God, you know, we're doing something. Did you just blush?
No.
You know, it's amazing. I mean, our fans, it's one thing for bands to go, oh, you know, our fans are the greatest. Everybody knows that fans are measured by KISS fans. That's the ultimate.
What is the most common question that now that they have this chance to interface with you, which is, as I say, the dream come true for them? They can throw questions at you. What are the things they most want to know?
I'd say two things. They're always curious about what's next, which will be a new studio record when we get home, and more of this. We want to do conventions in the rest of the world too, and then of course they always ask, well, how are the other guys, the original members, which is a fair question, and they get. I mean, for us, there's no question that we don't want to answer. We don't, you know, there's sometimes the crowd, they start like yelling at each other. No, it's not, you know. We want to hear what they have to say, and we want to express ourselves, really have a one-on-one with them. So you'll see it tonight. It'll be fun.
It'll be tremendous. So I'm looking forward to it and the show immensely. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
May I ask, just before we wrap up, would you be able to throw to the story as it comes up in the program?
Sure.
And just say we're coming up next. The program's called 10 News, and it needs to go about 10 seconds. So however you'd like to say it,
Yeah.
straight down the
I'll
barrel
just
of the
introduce-
camera.
Hi, this is Bruce Kulick.
This is Paul Stanley of KISS, and we're coming up next with The Naked Truth on 10 News.
Check it out.
I'll actually talk for about 10 seconds to enable us to have something to respond to. I won't make it too interesting because I don't want to elicit an actual response, and it'll actually sound quite bland and boring, but that in fact is the exact sort of northern.
That's right.
Okay, still going? Yes. I'll do a couple more seconds of what I was doing before and head down and wonder how you're going to get you through.
I had this dreadful thought about, you know, like cockroaches or lunch.
Feet up,
That's what
right?
the waiter was saying.
The
Yeah.
Vegemite just smothered.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, no. Even at the Ritz-Carlton, they offered me Vegemite. I was like,
And you were
They,
pleased.
Yeah.
you know, they tried to bring that into the States. You know, especially like when men at work were singing about Vegemite sandwiches.
Yes, that's right.
So, you know, everybody figured, okay, we'll give it a shot, you know. I
it
think,
was the first time besides the time I was here, that I saw the Vegemite. She had jars in there next to the clothing.
I'll give you a bit of an eye line here. No, I think that was a good picture. I'm onto the shot pen.
If you can just look at Paul for me, that'd be great. And then back at Angela. Lovely.
I'm saving up my money to get them polished.
Thing. I don't know what they were doing in there. They were looking at me. I was looking at them.
Well, they saw your nose and went, hey,
Yeah, they
he's
said
Jewish.
he must be Jewish. What's he doing here?
Are they Kiss fans?
I know.
Fanzine over here. 19? Oh,
I called that. You didn't see that.
I won't even tell Jules you did. Cheers!
All right.
Kiss fencing, Canberra.
Are you just free slobbering up there?
No, we just, whoever ordered the stuff, they ordered gin and yellow and stuff. That's really, we had heaps of people asking for it. Did he say that I was just slobbering? No, no, he said it was just a cellar.
We can play. Not remind you.
Frank?
Have you spoken to Paul?
Yeah, sure.
the